So what is Matt Moreman's origin story? I'm Nick from Hawk Pro Detailing at SEMA 2022. I met Matt from Obsessed Garage here. I've interviewed him on the channel before. I'll link that above, but I had a chance to really just have a frank conversation, uncut. We were gonna do this all scripted. You know, hi, I'm Nick, blah, blah, blah. And then we just got to chatting, and we never did the scripted thing, and we just got organically into his origin story. It starts, folks, nearly a decade ago.
I got fired from my career, my wealth management career, when I was 38. So in 2018, June of 2018 is when they walked me out the door, and now you know, the rest is history. You know, I have a real business where I work like a maniac, but I don't feel like I'm working. You know?
So I have worked as a TV news anchorman and reporter for years, but often felt like I was cheating on that to chase my detail business. And I always wondered if they found out about my YouTube channel, would I get fired?
Maybe.
So what happened with you getting fired?
So I did a series. I'd never done vlogs before, and I decided to do a 2 weeks. I call it 2 weeks in the day. 2 weeks in the day. 2 weeks of a day in the life of the obsessed.
Okay.
And then I had 14 episodes. So I did 2 weeks straight. And I'd lost the weight loss challenge with my now CFO. He was just my friend at the time, Chris Haynes. And I lost a weight loss challenge to him. And so I had to give him my GT350 and my Ford Raptor.
What?
And I had to drive for 2 weeks, and I had to drive his Ford Focus with no air conditioning and a broken catalytic converter. And so I vlogged that day in the life for the first time I'd ever vlogged, and I took my camera to my office, and I was sitting in the parking lot having an OCD meltdown at one point, and I'm just talking through that, and I showed him my wealth management workstation and my diplomas, and just kind of showed my life for 2 weeks. And about a year after that, somebody in compliance, there were two young guys who were fans of the channel and watched what I was doing. They went to their boss and said, "Hey, check this out. This guy works for Raymond James." And that's the company I was working for. And they said, "Look at this. This is awesome." And he wigged out. Next thing I know, I'm in a room with a bunch of regulatory attorneys and a bunch of firm compliance and like the FINRA attorney and all of that stuff for the exchange. And they had my videos on the screen and a whole binder with all of the potential issues of me sharing my life on camera. And so they made a decision about 3 months after that to say, "Look, we're just going to part ways." And they walked me out the door.
What was that like for you?
It was brutal. A lot of it was, the thing that was rough is that I had, in full transparency, I'd left Merrill Lynch and went to Raymond James, and so I had built a really sizable wealth management practice. And the way wealth management works is when you walk in the door, they give you a small salary and a desk and a phone, and they say, "Figure it out," and a phone book, "Here you go. Find some clients, find clients." It's not like giving you clients. So I was 24 years old when I started the business, and I thought I owned a business, but really I was a W-2'd employee. And they gave us a platform to go out and find clients, and so over the years I built a pretty sizable practice. And the way that it worked is I had to annuitize my practice, meaning that let's say you had $1 million. I would say, okay, I'm going to charge you 1% a year to manage your $1 million. You can pay me 10 grand a year, and hopefully, over time we'll grow the portfolio. And so over time, maybe your $1 million grows to $1.5 million or $2 million, and now I may charge you 1% of $2 million. So there's a lot of upside there. And so I had a practice for about 15 years. I was managing several $100 million worth of people's money, making an amazing living, and so when I left, when I first started making videos in 2014 on Obsessed, it wasn't called Obsessed Garage, it was just Matt Moreman YouTube channel. I started to monetize the channel, and I had to submit an outside business activity report, or approval, and then they started watching my videos. So Merrill Lynch started saying, "Look, you can't really say this or that," and so I left Merrill Lynch to go to Raymond James because they said I could. They said I wanted to build something called Obsessed Wealth Management. So I had Obsessed Garage and Obsessed Wealth Management, and I thought there was a conduit between the two because I thought my business was I thought Obsessed Garage was a way for me to meet other like-minded people and be able to manage their life savings, manage their money for them. Because I had a business that was built on like retirees, we had nothing in common, just regular, average people, and I wanted to manage, my type of people. I wanted to manage your money when you got money. I wanted to manage, all the business, the Ians of the world, the business owners,
from Auto Fiber, yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to manage the, people that I had something in common with, that when we called and we talked about your future, I understood it. And so I thought Obsessed Garage was my conduit to that. And so when they took that away, it was a shock. Like, now what do I do? I'd already knew Obsessed Garage was the thing, but I didn't know it was the main thing. I mean, I was making hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, like lots and lots of money, and they just took it away. Just imagine you're making $500,000 a year, and they just say no more, gone, done. We're taking your practice from you, and it's not like you can just replicate it. It took me 15 years to build it.
You didn't get any of those clients?
No, none. They took it from me. They fired me. Now, I could have fought it and gone to another firm and called on my clients and tried to get them taken with me, but I knew that Obsessed Garage I knew I was on to something. At that time, I was selling $200,000 or $300,000 worth of product a month, and so I was making.
Oh, so you were already on your way?
I was well on my way, and that was another factor.
What year was it when you got fired?
It was 2018.
So I think I got on to what you were doing around 2017.
Yeah, probably. When the Kranzle pressure washer and videos you made on that, and so I was on to something, right? But to take away what I thought was the stable career, and I thought that was the focus. I thought that was the path. But right before they fired me, when they were considering what to do, I had built like a spreadsheet. I said, what did I think I could do if I did just Obsessed Garage? What if I did just wealth management? Because they weren't going to let me do both. There was no question there.
And they was your boss.
Yeah, I mean, the Raymond James, the firm, which because there was a lot of risk there. They thought, well, I might be marketing to, and you can't market on YouTube. I wasn't marketing; I was just showing my life. And then there's a fine line between marketing and sharing. And really, my whole life is marketing, right? I mean, everything I do is just a big marketing experiment. And so every product I'm interested in, I'm really marketing it just by saying I'm interested in it by being on YouTube. And so that was kind of a gray area. I wasn't like saying buy this stock or buy this mutual fund, but I was saying, I pick mutual funds for people, and that could be misconstrued as marketing.
Some people say things happen for a reason. Do you look at it like that?
Oh,
or
100%.
How do you make sense of it all? Because obviously this is what you were meant to do.
I think I probably would have quit or sold that business, which would have been better for me long-term financially, to sell it rather than them take it. But I think that it would have been such a detriment to what's happened to me since. I mean, I think that if I would have done that, I wouldn't have been as focused. I didn't have a choice. When they walked me out the door, I had to focus and go get it and make it happen. And we went from, it was just me and my parents. My parents were shipping out all my pressure washers and microfiber towels to, by the end of that year, I think we had 8 employees, and we have 30 or so today. 30 on-staff employees, and then another small army of CPAs and attorneys and other outside consultants that I hired to help me, insurance and all the people and business coaches that are all part of my life, that have part of helping me leverage this unique, once in a life, I don't know how to explain this, but I've such problems. I'm such a problemed human, troubled human, and I've figured out how to make that a contribution to the universe, if you will, or to the world. And so having a small army to help provide me leverage to go and create and to do what I do best, discover things, shop for things, and then share with the world why I think that thing is of value.
So you're at SEMA, man. Like, you look at all this stuff, you touch all these products. What are you excited about right now, whether it's here or at OG? Like, because it's really hard probably to impress you.
That's a weird thing you say. Like, I'm not looking to be impressed.
Okay.
I'm looking to find great things that I want to purchase for myself. And so, I don't need to be impressed to do that. In fact, I'd rather not be. I'd rather be underwhelmed and and have, find things that are, that I think the thing that drives me is I'm looking for things that may not have been purposed for something and to repurpose it. So I'm looking for things that, and that's what's so great about SEMA, is everything here is professional grade. There's very few consumer quality products. They're professional grade things. And so to have access to that is what really drives me. So I'm not looking to be impressed by it. I'm looking to be inspired by it, if you will. And then I'm always thinking of, okay, then how could I apply that? And then ultimately, how can I teach people about it? And then is it something that others might want? And the general thesis is, if I want it, then there's going to be some other people that do too. And YouTube affords me the ability to reach those people, to connect with those people. And I can only imagine, the amount of people that I haven't gotten to know, that I haven't connected with, that are available just walking around here. 1 out of 1,000 people will recognize Obsessed Garage or the T-shirt or something. Imagine if 2 out of 1,000 did. It'd be pretty incredible.
Yeah.
So I think about it that way. I think about, if I find another product that may interest another subset of a niche audience, one person at a time, it can turn into a small army of people that really support the idea, this concept of pursuing functional excellent things.
Yeah, I was going to say, the Simon Sinek has this book called Find Your Why, and I've heard you can build a business on adrenaline, but if your why's not good, it'll shrink. What is your why, dude? What is your why?
I'm pursuing things that have that are generally underserved. I'm doing it because I want the product and I can't get it. And so I'm serving a group of people that have this similar desire, but maybe aren't cursed with the with being like medically problematically diagnosed with obsession, obsessive compulsiveness, and so I think my purpose is to turn this negative into a contribution to the world. And I'm super motivated by it and super energized by it. And like, for example, I'm walking through this hall when everybody else is still sleeping. The reason why I get a blue badge is so I can come in early and I can walk it. And so to me, it's less about the relationship part of this thing and more about the product, which is a problem in life. But I just love great products and I like repurposing them.
I love great products too. I found this this Brush Pro in the carpet janitorial world. It's called a counter-rotating brush machine, and it's like a 10-inch machine, and they're like $2,200. But it is the best carpet cleaner when you have a floor mat. And I kept trying to tell them, they make them in Austria. They're so well made. You'd love them. I was trying to get the company I bought it from make like a 2 or 3-inch counter-rotating brush machine for cars, and they never did. But I found it. And I'll put a link up above, but it was just an incredible carpet cleaning tool. It's big, it's bulky, it's meant to...
And they probably looked at you like you had 2 heads or wouldn't listen to you, give you the time of day, right?
Yeah, and no one's ever bought one on my channel, and I linked to them before, and I'd linked up with, I think, Aramco. They're a janitorial company, and
maybe I'll buy one from them.
Yeah, they're really, really good. Maybe your influence because they're made for encapsulation carpet cleaning, where you basically have something that'll break down the soil, and then it'll remove it from the carpet fibers, and then when it dries, it'll crystallize the dirt, so it'll vacuum up. So it's called encapsulation cleaning. So they use counter-rotating brush machines for encapsulation cleaning in hospitals, and in malls, wherever they need to dry the carpet very quickly. They don't have time for.
But according to them, not detailing, right? They're not interested.
They don't know how big this market is. One of the reps at my training carpet cleaning technician school, he's like, well, how big is the detailing industry? I didn't have a good answer for him. But he was kind of linked into that world, and I was like, you need to make a Brush Pro that's handheld, because I'm telling you, this thing is bulletproof, and it gets deep into the carpet fibers, and it throws the stuff up, and it has these renovator trays on the side that you can treat it like a vacuum. But we're just spitballing here, but we need to figure out for detailers how to make that happen.
So you're experiencing, you're articulating my exact problem that I've been, because of my obsessiveness. I'm always told no, this probably, we're not interested. I was talking to Tecton Tools today, and the guy's looking at me like I have 2 heads. Like, no, I'm looking for like an entry-level, line of tools that I can bring to a whole new audience. We're not interested in that. Yet they're probably paying. They had some goofball there. They're shooting a video with that they're paying $10,000 to be there at the booth. And I'm like, you don't have to pay me. just let me sell it, and you'd be surprised at how difficult it is to, you know, to get the gatekeepers to open the gate for you. You know?
Do you have a story where you were able to crack through that and it's been a great success?
Well, every single one, every single product. I mean, go look at Kranzle.
Yeah.
Kranzle didn't have a photo, they didn't have a video, they barely even had a description, they barely even had a website. I don't know how many tens of millions of pressure washers have been sold, but there were almost none sold until I took it on. I know we've sold over 10,000 of them. So.
Which one? All of the models? Or?
Yeah, just the models. There's only 3 models that that really matter. One of them is stupid that everybody's buying, the 1622, but that's a classic example. I mean, the short gun pressure washing, that came from yours truly.
Yeah, this guy?
Yeah, quick disconnects were not a thing. The foam cannon was already a thing, the MTM, the original Gen 1 foam cannon. But to get the foam cannon connected was a problem, and nobody made quick disconnects. And the pressure washing industry is against quick disconnects because it can cause cavitation, air introduced in the line if you don't have good quick disconnects. And so where quick disconnects became popular was because I bought the Kranzle. This is before YouTube, and I spent $1,200 on it. It was a lot of money to me, and I detailed the thing every time I used it. And I'm unscrewing the darn things. I'm like, there's got to be a better way where I can just connect it and break it down. And I wanted to be able to get the foam cannon quick connected, and I wanted to be able to quick connect the garden hose so I could put my deionizer in line. And so then I started chasing quick disconnect. There were no stainless steel quick disconnects, and so that was me, fighting with MTM and Mosmatic to try to get that here, and so they all told me no in the beginning, and now look what's happened. So the short gun concept, like the 20-inch wand concept, the idea of a aftermarket quality smooth jacket pressure washer hose, that was all my desire for me. I wanted that. And then the byproduct has been, well, shoot, if I want this, you probably want it too. And then I might as well try to sell it. Now the difficulty is now it's everywhere, right? And I should have figured out how to patent it or something, but it wasn't my product. I was just finding products that weren't used for this. Like the Kranzle's made for like chicken hatcheries and meat packing plants and stuff like that. That's what it's made for. Yeah, it's made for industry where they can't have gas, but they need sanitation, and it's made in a high flow fashion rather than a high pressure fashion, and so it just happened to work for cars.
So what is the best pressure washer ever invented?
Well, I mean, Kranzle currently is the best pressure washer. I mean, you could make a custom pressure washer, spend $3 or $4 grand, like Cat. Like you could use a Cat pump and build like a stainless head and stuff like that. So you could do better. But in a box for washing cars, I mean, the Kranzle's the best in the world. There's no question. Like Rupes is the best in the world of polishers. Yeah. It's like that. Yeah. It's at that level. There's not really any question. There's some others like there's Flex. Flex to Rupes is like AR is to Kranzle. The AR is great, but the Kranzle's better. There's Comet, there's some others, but it's the Italian versus the German pressure. The German pressure washer is way better. Now, can you get better specs? Can you get better performance by janking some things together? You certainly can, but the elegance, I liken a Kranzle pressure washer is actually an inferior pump design. It's a wobble plate. It's a radial axial pump, which in general, a triplex pump, where it's like a crankshaft driven, is generally better tech. Okay. It's more durable, but it's older school. And so it's like a Camaro can go a lot faster. Like a ZL1 Camaro is faster than a Porsche 911 around a track, but it's a old school crankshaft driven design. The 911 has a rear engine design, which is an inferior engineering thing, right? It's behind the rear axle. It should be in front of the rear axle. Yeah. It should be a mid-engine car, but yet the 911, through its many, many years of development, is a fantastic car. In fact, it's superior in many ways now because of how much time and engineering has gone into it. So a Kranzle pump, even though it's an inferior technology, is what I'm getting at here, it's, I believe, still the best user experience, best sounding, best. It's not even really the best spec performing pressure washer, but the overall package of how it delivers the experience, the user experience, I think is the best in the world. And so I had an AR. The AR gets you more pressure and more flow for less money. but it's just not. I had one in my last house. I'm like, get this thing out of here. I went back to the Kranzle a few weeks later, you know. And the AR on paper should be better. It's cheaper. It's $400 less. It has, you know, 2/10, 3/10 more flow, gallons per minute, and it's a triplex design, which is a more durable design by nature. And yet, I choose the Kranzle. I'm not gonna have any of them, you know. And so the Kranzle is the best to answer your question.
The one on wheels or the one on the wall?
They're the same.
Okay.
It's just depending on how you want to do it.
Yeah.
So the one on the wall, I flew to New York. We were supposed to go to Germany, but we couldn't get there, and so I flew to New York. Ludwig Kranzle and Uwe, who is his head of product development, and then the U.S. representatives. We all flew to New York, and I had just started to get some success. This was probably in right around the time I got fired, so mid to late 2018, something like that. And I explained to them the K1622 existed, which is the cart model, and I explained to them that one at the time didn't have auto shut off. You know, the cart model, you release the trigger and it turns off.
Yeah.
And so the one for the shelf mount, which I wanted for my garage personally, I wanted to mount it on the wall and put a hose reel underneath it. It didn't turn off, and it was only 1.5 gallons per minute. And so I said, I want the cart model. Why can't I have the cart model without the cart? And they said, well, why would you want that? How many people would buy it? I said, everyone. And so they came out with it, and that's the K1322. So it's the same one, it's just turn sideways and put it on the shelf. And then that's when, I think it was probably 2000, that same year, every year, so tomorrow morning I'll go to the Apex show and I'll just jog it in the morning and look for products, and that's where I found Koch hose reels.
Yeah.
And so Koch makes the best hose reels. No one's buying Koch hose reels other than industry.
Yeah.
So we brought Koch hose reels. Now it's common knowledge.
Well, I wonder.
That was your Uncle Matty here went and found that.
They're so
thing.
simple. Like, why are Koch hose reels so good to you? Like, obviously you love them.
It's the best hose reel. I mean, they're American made. They're super high quality. I bought 9 of them, you know, and all the ones you see, the Chinese ones are junk. And it's just a good quality. There's a little bit of American jank at times to them because it's American made, but it's super high quality, and it's the best hose reel for the job. So I was looking for somebody, and
Attention in the
that's how I
exhibit
found
hall.
them.
Attention in the exhibit hall. Day 2 of SEMA 2022 has come to an end. Tomorrow's show hours are from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Please make your way to the exits and have a wonderful evening. See y'all tomorrow.
Well, should we just call that a conversation?
I think they're going to kick us out of here, yeah.
Matt, it was a pleasure, my friend. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
See you, everyone.